Good morning and welcome to English. So, last week we started writing or thinking about ideas for our short stories. So, hopefully you have a map and the ones that you sent me were amazing, so well done. Hopefully you have a main character. Here is mine, and some of you might even have started thinking about a villain. Okay, if you haven't started thinking about a villain, today's the perfect day to. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to start working out what our story is actually going to look like, and we're going to use a story mountain. Then as the week goes on, we're going to add a little bit more detail into our story and eventually start writing it. So first things first, we are going to use a story mountain. So I've drawn mine and I've started adding some bits in already, but for now you just need the mountain shape drawn on. What we're going to do is we're going to start at the end, because if we start at the end, we know where we're trying to get to, and then we can make the rest of our story make sense. I'm going to give you 3 potential options for how you want your story to end. Number 1, you might want to discover a new land or continent or city, somewhere that's never been discovered before, just like in Brightstorm. Secondly, you might want to discover a new creature. This might be a magical creature, like the Thought Wolves, or it might be a creature that's come from your imagination. Thirdly, you might want to find a missing person or object. You might want to find a treasure or something that's important. Of course, you've always got a 4th option, which is to make up your own ending. I've decided that my ending, we are going to discover a lost underwater city filled with mermaids and sea creatures. However, the mermaids don't want anyone to know they're there, so they ask us to keep it a secret, which we're going to agree to. Now we've got our ending, let's think about what happens in the beginning so that we can end up at the ending. So again, I'm going to give you 3 choices, or the 4th, which is create your own. Number 1, you're in a race to discover that land, person, creature, or whatever it is you've decided is going to happen in your ending. This is a little bit like in Brightstorm, when they're all competing to get to South Polaris. Number 2, which is the one that I'm going to choose, is that no one believes you are capable of being a real explorer, and you decide that you want to go and prove them wrong. So you set off by yourself to prove that you are an explorer. Or number 3, you find a lost map that tells you about the existence of an unknown land, creature, treasure. You decide to follow it and see what happens. So I've added to my story mountain that no one believes I can be a real explorer. I want to prove them wrong. I think in doing this, I'm probably going to have to find some kind of map as well. Otherwise, I'm not sure how I'm going to get to my lost city. So I'm going to say, no one believes I can be an explorer. I then go and take a map that's been in my family for generations, but no one thinks is a real map, and then off we go. So the last bit, we need to think of something that happens in the middle, something that maybe goes wrong, and then how we resolve it. Again, I'm going to give you 3 options, or you can think of your own. Middle number 1, somehow the villain steals your map, but then somehow you're going to have to get it back. Or do you discover your place without it? Number 2, your ship crashes. Why could this be? Could it be because you missteer, you crash into something? Could it be that the villain maybe crashes into your boat? Have a bit of a think. Again, how are you going to get to the ending if your ship has crashed? Do you have a spare boat? Does someone come and pick you up? Or is that how you discover the creature or the land because your boat has crashed? Number 3, the villain tricks you. Think about this one. How are they going to trick you? What are they going to trick you about? Do you find out what's happened? Do you realise that they've tricked you? Do you play a trick back? Again, remember, whatever happens, you've got to be able to get out of it to be able to get to your ending. And of course, the 4th option, you can make your own up. I've now filled in my whole story mountain. So I'm going to begin with, no one believes I can be a real explorer and I want to prove them wrong. I'm then going to take one of the family maps that people again think is a made up map. However, on my journey, the villain is going to steal their map using a pet bird. Maybe a eagle is going to come along and take the map out of my hands while I'm reading it on the deck of my ship. Then there's a big storm. We're going to get completely lost. So if I look on my map, I'm going to set off from here. I'm going to be sailing around here when the villain's bird takes my map. And then without me knowing, my ship's going to get blown over here. Okay, so there's a storm, we get lost, we don't know where we're going, but we start seeing some strange lights under the water. So we decide to follow them because my boat's like a submarine kind of ship. And then under the water, we discover the lost underwater city where mermaids and sea creatures live. And that's my story map. So have a go at creating your own story map. Tomorrow we're going to turn it into a cartoon and a storyboard. So let me know your ideas for your story. See you later.